Good morning. I'm sure that today we will have a conversation and a lot of happiness about the U.S. decision that has been made. And indeed, at this point, I can say that we dodged a historic bullet. But unfortunately, many more bullets are on the way. And therefore, we can be joyous for a day, but we have to be prepared for the battle that is come tomorrow. And therefore, that can be no calming down, no stopping of assistance, and we have to continue to speak how we're going to assist Ukraine further still. That is the main task. I think that a couple of additional things that have to be mentioned. One is that the events that took place in Germany, where a couple of people were apprehended with a plan to have a sabotage or some hybrid activity when it comes to the training of Ukrainians. It has to be addressed in a wider audience, so I'm going to address that as well in the Foreign Affairs Council, because we are witnessing very similar events in our region. Not just in Lithuania, but also in Latvia and Estonia as well. And there seems to be a coordinated action against a European country that is coming from Russia, and it has to be mentioned, it has to be addressed, and we have to really find a ways how to deal with a threat that, because Russia is dealing not just fighting against not just Ukraine, but the West as well. And lastly, I'm glad that the discussion about further sanctioning of Iranian industry when it comes to drones and ballistic missiles is progressing. We are part of a coalition that introduced the ideas for further sanctioning, and I'm truly hopeful that this time we can have an agreement on further sanctioning Iran.
It was Friday when Secretary General Stoltenberg said that in the next couple of days European allies would announce what further military aid they could deliver to Ukraine. Now it's Monday, we haven't heard anything. Is it what you expected? Are you disappointed by this radio silence?
Well, I think that, as I mentioned at the beginning, I think that now many allies will be relieved that there are good news coming from United States. But it cannot stop us from doing what we have to do. Therefore, we will be announcing additional measures when it comes to the strengthening of air defense. Lithuania has some specific equipment that could be used in Ukraine, so it will be later announced today. I'm hopeful, but it's just a tiny example that everybody else has to continue moving ahead. And such initiatives as Czech initiative, or with ammunition, or German initiative currently underway with additional air defense, they have to be supported. Germany made a very significant step, sending additional Patriot battery to Ukraine. But when you think of it, it's just one. We have to do better.
Are you concerned even in the revolution guardian?
Sorry?
The sanctions on the Iranian revolution guardian.
Well, we're talking not just sanctions. We're talking of assigning Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization, and we support that.
Are you concerned that the European Union is now sitting back after the US is now providing more billions?
Well, we'll witness that today, whether we're sitting back or we're moving ahead.
And what do you expect?
I always expect us moving ahead, but time will tell.
Would you be in favor of additional sanctions on Iranian airplanes and spare parts for
airplanes? Now we're talking just mostly about spare parts for drones that are still not under sanction, and ballistic missiles. I would be in favor of restricting the military industry of a country that is fighting on two fronts. And I have a question, which is at this point is rhetorical. How many fronts does Iran need to open for us to get serious about sanctioning them? I hope that two is, we reach at the limit where we actually can impose serious sanctions that would actually restrict their military industry from fighting in Ukraine and from fighting against Israel.
Should the JCPOA be a concern for the European Union when it takes such measures?
Well, look, I'm one of those people who don't believe that JCPOA has a future.
Do you think the External Action Service believes that too?
Well, you better ask them.
On missiles, apparently there was an actual transfer to Russia, so you said Ukraine.
Of missiles?
Yeah, Iranian missiles.
Well, they were used against Israel.
So you would be sanctioning Iran for using missiles against Israel?
We would be sanctioning limiting the transfer of components that are used in building the missiles. Okay, thank you. Continue to speak how we're going to assist Ukraine further. Ended with a plan to have a sabotage or some hybrid